do that. All right. So, first thing I want to kind of go over with you guys is when you think about this call, right? We have so much to go over right now. Our business is moving. You can feel the energy of like people wanting to go on the cruise and people trying to figure out how to do love, serve, grow in their content, and knowing that sales resistance is out there. People that want to know how to position this and talk about it. What about our client support pages? Asking about it. There's just so much that's going on. And so what my heart for this call was, and when we all made the commitment to be on this call, was this is our one time to meet as leaders and really communicate, and then take that back to our team and feel like we're in lockstep with like our direction. So I know we had made the commitment to be on these calls, but what I'm thinking is, and you guys let me know what you think. First of all, I'm going to ask for a recommit. Okay, so what that looks like is if you're on Trailblazers, you're a Trailblazer and you're interested in growing a big business, and you're going to have these calls for yourself, and you're going to need to know how to do that, and you're going to need to know how to interact in fire starters as a leader and what our message is, so it's not just me leading in there. And so I'm asking for a recommit for this call. And I'm also thinking we need to change the frequency, meaning I don't know that we need to do this every week. Maybe we could do it every other week and have it be like an hour, because we kind of go past 30, 35, 40 minutes sometimes anyway. And I want to respect your guys' time and your family time and all of that. But I want and time to get to doctors and all the real life stuff that we have going on. But I also personally have committed to these where I don't put anything on Mondays. They ask me to come fix my cabinets. I'm like, nope, not on a Monday. The lawyer wants to talk to me about my dad's stuff, not on a Monday. So I have made the commitment to be here and have a prepared agenda every single week, barring a few in the whole year. And I'm just asking for the same thing in return, that we take radical responsibility, right, for our businesses and our communication. And I want to know if you guys think we can achieve this every other week, or if you feel like, no, I do need to talk to you in this leadership space once a week. You know, my thoughts are every other week. I just feel like every week is too much. And I'm concluding that because people have so many things that are still coming up the majority of the time. So what are your guys' thoughts? Do you think we could pull this off, committing to every other Monday? And then barring a family, like Kristen, your daughter has a baby, we get it. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, be on when your kid is having a baby. But like outside of that, when we go to make an appointment, we're not doing it on Mondays because we know that this time is precious. Does that make sense?
My fear for only every other week is people are going to forget, if that makes sense. And that I feel like the commitment will drop. I'll be honest with you, unless she was pushing out that baby, I know that you put aside this time. And I know there's been a few times we've had stuff where I had already told myself there is no more Monday stuff, because you do put aside the time for this, as well as even fire starters, because even though we have this call, I think it's very important for all of us to even be on fire starters, so we know what our teams are up to, and it helps us.
Okay, so your vote is like, let's keep it
whatever you decide. If you need us every week, but that is a fear of mine, that people are going to be like, oh crap, I didn't realize it was this Tuesday or this.
Yeah. No, I could see that. If maybe we figure out what the rest of the group wants to do here, and then we'll figure out a way to communicate it, maybe even just lovingly remind each other until it's a rhythm or something like that, you know, because I could see that too. But and I'm down to meet every week. I feel like we got enough going on that we could do it, but I also just want that recommit, and not to assume that you guys can do that in this season of your life while you're growing your businesses and your personal life and all of that. Patrick?
I'm in agreement. There's just a lot of changes going on right now. And then another change is not going to solve this, right? So if we don't have to meet, then we just put a memo out. Hey, we're not meeting next week, right? but I think it's important that that information gets out in time for individuals that may have things planned, or if they plan to be here, that they know, that we won't meet. But I think if we keep just seesawing this thing, let's write it out. If there's nothing going on, if we don't have to meet, then we just put an APB out. Hey guys, we're not meeting next week. And that's what it is. But if we keep, and to Kristen's point, then this becomes not as important as I mean, what's important to you, you're going to make time for it. That's my philosophy.
Okay, very good. So rather than going through each person's, opinion, I'm just going to call it and say that we're going to do it every week. Okay, because here's my prediction. We're about to get really busy. That's my prediction. I can feel it. I know what's coming. I know what's going to happen when this launches. I know what's going to happen. The whey protein, like there's going to be a very great need to communicate and energize our teams. So let's keep it weekly. I love that idea, that if there's not something worthy to talk about and forward, that we don't have the call, and that I will take the responsibility of letting you guys know that by Saturday. Like, we're not meeting Monday, right? So that you can have that time back to do health assessments or whatever. Also, if it's not your season to be a trailblazer and you're like, I'm not blazing the trail right now. I am doing my business. I am leading with my own health, but I am not interested in being on a leadership call and doing leadership things at this time. No judgment. I have been in those seasons. I do not judge anyone that says that about their business right now at all. I just need to know, right? So let's kind of move forward, and this could be as simple as, I'll be honest, just put myself on the sword. There's times where I've been a part of things at Optavia that are those calls like mastermind or other things, and I start getting loosey-goosey. And the next thing you know, one of those leaders is like, hey guys, we need to recommit. Like, it's not a hand slap. It's a hug, really, to say, hey guys, we need to recommit. We're getting loosey-goosey over here. And then I feel that conviction. And I'm like, you know what? I am going to the gym and cutting it close. Like, I am. And I need to give these leaders a little bit more of my schedule, right? It's not like they're asking to be on calls all week, and I'm not asking you guys to be on some crazy amount of calls that are just wasting our time, So I think a recommit will help us a lot with intentionality. And then if you got stuff that's really urgent, I get it. Like, this is not some exercise to shame you guys for your personal commitments. Like, that is absolutely not my heart. I just want to move. All right. So first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about.
Rachel. Hi, Rachel. Can I piggyback on that a little bit? And at this point, if we haven't, this group of folks that we're talking to, if we haven't figured it out that this is important to us building a team, then maybe we're in the wrong space. Because to ask for recommit from people that are leading teams of people, groups of people, or to me, again, leaders just either show up, and if you're not going to make it, I think the heart, the pulse of that, you would know the person's business. You're our mentors, you and Tim, and you know the pulse of the people that you're dealing with. So at this point, 4 or 5 years into this, and you still haven't figured out, I'm kind of leery of, where you are, if you're in the right space, and what we label leadership to be. So because I have a big team doesn't necessarily mean I'm a leader, because maybe you just fall into some people that decided they want to get healthy. And by default, you have a big team, but it's not necessarily mean that you're leading those people. So, I'm not sure what a recommit means. Maybe you could break that down a little bit.
Right?
Okay,
asking you to recommit to this.
It is time. Got you. Okay.
And just like, man, I'm going to do what I can. And there's still going to be times I miss. And I'm going to lovingly ask Rachel, please record. I could not get around it. I will watch that playback and I will give my vote, right? Like, that's perfectly fine. I'm doing that for Michelle Offerman today. She told me a week in advance, I can't be on. Very respectful of my time. And I'm going to get that done. Okay. So that's that's all that it is, just recommitting to your time and your schedule and making sure that you've got things set up. Because I, for one, I'm so excited, you guys, about what I feel, what I can see in the back office, like what I can see in general. And I'm just wanting to really make sure that our team is positioned for that. So right now I'm going to cut and paste something into Trailblazers. This is our first item together. Julie and I talked about this for a minute casually, like it was like, oh, what about this? And then it came into this little list, and she edited it and we worked on it together. And I want to share that while there are new things happening around us, or you may see Love Serve grow, or you may see, oh, Jamil's doing a thing over here, or maybe the Valentines are doing a thing over here. Or maybe we hear something at convention and we're like, wow, right? That our commitments to our business, they're the times tables, the I'm doing everything. Okay, I'm doing everything to grow my business. So here's what I did. I took a look at how Tim and I have been able to, and I'm not saying this to brag, this is to just hopefully give you some confidence in us as leaders, right? We've always had a global business with a lot of depth, right? We're not out of that. We haven't fallen out of that. When they said add 5 new clients a month for the client assist, we did it every single month. They offered it. We are trying to lead from the front. But there are times that we see our business go down and we know that we're not doing everything, that we're not. And like there's times where I flat out am skipping things that I know worked to get us to a mature global business, and they still work today. And I want to share what those things are, because I think the Dan Bell, thou shall not fool thyself. I think we want to put that on for a minute. Just put that hat on for a minute. Thou shall not fool thyself, right? And let me read these to you as one of your leaders. My commitments to growth. And you think about these, and just as I'm saying them, just put a check on a piece of paper. And I just want to see how many checks you have. And you're not going to answer me or tell me. This is for your self-reflection. And this is for you to do with your team, okay? I am leading with my own health and documenting my new goals. So again, I'm asking you to look at this today. And when you say you've been doing everything, maybe in the last 6 months, maybe you've thought, I'm doing everything, right? In the last 6 months, have you been leading with your own health and documenting your new goals? Put a check mark if you're like, yep, been doing it for 6 months straight. I fill out and I work off of my map every single day. So I fill out a map and I'm working off of it every single day that I'm working. I'm not saying you guys need to work every day, but when you're working Optavia, you're working off a map. That right there, I'm out, okay? I get a big strike on that one. Nope, stop doing that 4 months ago. Me, guilty, okay? So I'm not doing everything. I'm not gonna tell you guys I'm doing everything when I'm not. I attend and I apply what I'm hearing on a training. I take the actions at the end of the training and I do them. Every time I get on a training, I take the actions. I add friends daily, or I grow my followers on my platforms, Instagram, things like that. You're increasing your reach. I do start intentional conversations daily, keeping 5 as a minimum guide, right? So right there, I'm out. I'm out again, right? I'm out. I'm really out on the adding friends daily. Really out on that one. That's not a go for me. I host events to build community regularly, hikes, coffee meetups, healthy happy hours, health and hope nights. I place my PV order under my coach for all the product I consume that matches my goals. I follow the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 process, and I do these things myself before I ask my clients to. Integration, milestone post, I live out loud. I attend events that I qualify for and I take the actions after the event. Many of you, the 30-day challenge, right? Don't have my little sheet in front of me. Yeah, I do. But you know what those are, right? You're like, yeah, I'm going to take action. I'm going to do that. I use 2 layers of mentorship for my clients and coaches, especially when my business is not growing. I share my problem, not my product. And I offer value and education to my audience. I add value to my client support page that I add my clients to. And I share value with existing clients weekly. I invite them to calls, I share recordings, I check in if it's appropriate. I send my newsletters out weekly without fail, etc. So when we say my business is not growing and I'm doing everything, guys, I'm a liar if I say that. I do about 35 to 40% of this on a monthly basis, and I'm getting about 30 to 45% of the results. So I would love for us to take this, not to flog ourselves, not to judge ourselves, not to go and use a stick with our team and prod them, right? Oh, you're not doing everything, but more to just say, what more do we need to be doing? What new training, what new method, what new podcast, right? Isn't this the tried and true of what got us to where we were excited? And isn't this what we need to go back to? And just look at it and commit weekly, like, oh my God, I do not send newsletters out, fixing that today, right? So I want to know your thoughts on this. Personally, I gave myself a C- or a D+. Like, that's where I'm at currently. Not upset about it. I'm going to get to work. And I want to know what you guys think about our fundamentals in our business. What do you guys think about that?
Okay,
I have
I
a lot
think
of work to do
uh,
since no one's talking.
okay.
I have a lot of work to do. Did you say you posted that in Trailblazers? I know you kind of showed it to me the other day, but I think I need the visual, and I think that was a really good gut check for sure. I think that also reminds me, like Patrick was saying, I do think I need these calls weekly, because if I'm being completely transparent with all the changes, even with the modules, I need to play with even that more, and I just have a lot of work to do, I guess.
Okay, thank you. And yes, it's in Trailblazers. What I'd like to do is make it a little nicer. Somehow we'll put our heads together, I don't know, a little checklist or something, that when we meet on map calls with our teams, we have something that we're like, let's just focus on this. If we get our teams to focus on all of this, they'll freeze. A confused mind will do nothing. And so we don't want to do that, but we do want to focus on one thing with them and see that change through. Patrick, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I was just in agreement, you know, and I thank you for your transparency. Because a lot of times, you know, we could, you know, I know we don't compare, but you know, there's a possibility that there's that part of who we are, the humanness, that says, man, my business can't be the only business that's struggling in any particular area, right? And we got to really be honest with ourselves that I don't think anybody in Optavia would check every block off on that they're doing this, right? But I going back to the basics. The basics is, you know, I was thinking about that today. You know, how do we even get here? We, you know, when we started Optavia, we got to ED and we're like, yeah, we're excited about it, and then all of this stuff. I don't know what to call it, right? Things that let's try this and maybe this is gonna work. The basics got us here, right? One of the things I like to share is this. You know, being in the Marine Corps, being a drill instructor, one of the things that we don't change, I don't care if you're in 1st Battalion, 2nd Battalion, or 3rd Battalion, there's a basic training that goes out for everybody. We're all doing the same exact things. So if you're in 3rd Battalion, if you're in phase 1 and you just got here, you're going to get the same exact training. Everybody's going to be doing the same thing, right? And then, and I think what we're trying to do is fulfill some things that we see that's working for somebody else. But if we get back to the basics got us here, right? And then what we did is we lost a lot of this, right? And to be honest with you, I think we lost a lot of the communal stuff where we're more concerned about let's try this or try that. And again, it's just me talking. I haven't talked to my wife about this. It's just my heart. But the basics for me was just so simple. I could follow basics. And I think what has gotten us off checking those boxes is we're not sure which one of those boxes we should be doing right now. Even though I know we have individual businesses, I'm not sure. I'm like, man, should I be doing this? Or should I be doing BBAs? Or should I be on this? Or did I miss this? And so it's chaos going on in our heads. We're trying to juggle 15 balls just to make sure that we're doing the right things. And I think we just need to just figure out what the KISS is, keep it simple. I'm just going to keep the S part, just keep it simple, right?
Sweetie.
And yeah, that's a nice word, right? Just keep it simple. And if we keep it simple, I think it's easier for us to traverse than this. I think there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and that's not what got us here.
Yeah, I love what you said here, because I think, if you look at all of convention, I heard a lot of comments about how basic it was, and I'm so grateful that it went back to basics. I think there was a lot of basics being handled, because that's really where we need to get back to on a lot of the steps. And one of the things that you said, we've tried a lot of different things, and you're right. I mean, you're right. We've tried different things, and what I've seen is it's always come back to the basics, and even to a more basic level than where even you started, Patrick and Sherry, as well as Rachel and I. We started with this model that was very much about, hey, if you love the mission, then we're just going to start getting people physically healthy. And then what naturally happened is your health eventually either plateaued, or you got physically healthy, but there wasn't the other parts of the trilogy. And so I think where we've come full circle to, which is, it's all necessary, right? It was all necessary for us to go through all of these stages or places in this business, because at the end of the day, and Dr. A talks about it so many times, he talked about a convention, he talked about, and through his coaching guide, is that we're just a guide. And we put so much on that, when really the way that I see this today is that we're on this journey and we're living our journey out loud, because we need other people to join us that want to experience what we're experiencing, so that we'll have the fuel to continue on our own journey. And that as they have more people come on this journey, then they'll have the fuel to continue on their journey, because of all of the reasons, right? All of the things that would cause you to grow in this business, right? And so I think as you kind of peel back, like, to the 50,000 foot level, you can start to see that we've complicated it, and we've made it about, oh, these things, and that all of the things that we want to accomplish in this business happen by just doing us living our journey, talking about what's working. All the trainings that you've been listening to from Bob Helick, they're all talking about, just talk about what you've been experiencing on your journey with the product that you sell or the problem that you solve. And people are naturally going to come, and they're going to want to be a part of that if that resonates with them. So I think all of that to say that we're moving in the right direction. I think we're finding ways to streamline how to get the information, not do too much for everyone, when in reality, this is really the lifting they're going to have to do if they want to have the life that they say they want. And if they don't, that's okay. But if they do, if they want what you have and you want what you want, you're going to continue to stay on the course and continue to take yourself on, which is the hardest job of all of this, right? So I know I went on a little bit, but that's kind of where my mind is at with this.
Yeah, no, it's the truth of it all. I was on with Amber Leah's team today, and I reminded them that we only have one business model, and that's to lead with our health and take other people that are willing with us, period. There's nothing else. So it's no wonder that when we stopped getting healthy and we were no longer inspiring, that we had a suffer in our business. And that's why we can't say with any high level of integrity, right, and radical responsibility, that we have done everything. Now, is the economy different? You betcha. Is there a diet market that's being infiltrated by weight loss drugs? You betcha. But I really don't care to study that, because I haven't even done my list. So what's the point? What's the point of how much of the market share have they taken? I don't care. They haven't taken it all, because clearly I have people talking to me in my stories about what I'm doing. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm inviting all of you to come with me and be like, I don't care. I have a journey. I'm taking it and I'm taking other people with me. And that's it. So with regards to our second item, so yes, that's in Trailblazers. I would urge you to look at that, maybe cut and paste it on your notes page on your phone and just take a look at the basics, especially when you feel overwhelmed. Especially when you feel like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing today. Like I got this thing going off over here and there's this boot camp and like, just look at it and go, you know what? I haven't talked to even 5 people today. I've had no conversation with nobody. Like, that's what I'm going to go do. Like, that's it, right? I'm going to go tell someone happy birthday, their baby's cute. I'm going to start conversations with people that are genuine. Like he's telling us, don't do those crazy conversations that put up sales resistance where people are like, ooh, slimy. We know that doesn't work, okay? And that's not really who this team is anyway. So I'm not real worried about that. Thank you, Julie, for sharing that. The next thing is I'm going to turn it back to Tim and just let you guys know Monday nights. Okay, so a couple things. September 11th is in a few weeks, and we were asked as a team, I was asked by Rachel Vespa to host that call on Monday night, the Dr. A call. And we have Julie Russell sharing her story and Allison Ringeman sharing her story. And so just, you know, to be excited as a team, to be asked to be on that call, Rachel was like, oh, we would love you to regularly be on these calls. And I'm like, yes. And I would love for each of you to start preparing yourself to share your story on that call and think about what is my trilogy story in 6 to 7 minutes. And I want to be so proud of all of you because I don't get asked if our team isn't producing. And you guys are the reason that we get asked. Like, to be quite honest with you, that's the bottom line. So please be ready in the future, kind of like have it ready so that we can work through our team and get as many of you on and your coaches as possible. And then please watch those like tonight, right? Tonight, Candace Watson is hosting it and she's going through the format. So I have to watch her to see what she's doing so I can replicate it on the 11th. And then you guys watch it too. So it's always training, right? It's always preparing you for what you want to do. And then definitely encourage Julie and Allison. They're nervous, like anybody would be. Send them some encouragement before, you know, they go on that call, and let me know if you're like, hey, I want to be considered for that. I want to do that. I want to share my trilogy story. I want to see every single one of you guys on those calls. And there's some things I can tell you that you'll need to learn and do in order to be considered for those calls. So you can always ask me what that looks like. But after the call, it's 30 minutes. We're going to do our leading the way. Starting September, let me look at the exact date. We had said we'll take a break for summer to be with our kids and less calls and enjoy the summer. And I really think that was a wise choice. I know I've enjoyed the little bit of less, and I hope you guys did too. But it would be September 4th that we would resume our leading the way call. And the company has said their calls are going to be 30 minutes, that no longer are they going to go over. So we know we can start the call right after on Monday, which is great. So I'm going to turn it over to Tim, and he's going to share with you guys the direction that we're going. You guys gave a lot of good input, and then we put our brains around it as leaders and as stewards of this team, and we've kind of thought it through. And so, honey, you want to explain?
Rachel, you know that's a holiday, right? September 4th, you know it's Labor Day.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
I don't know that that's a good day to start, only because I think people are going to have the day off, especially if we are going the route of the starting over in the life book.
Yeah.
You're going to want people there in the beginning, but that's just my 2 cents. I already know.
Let's do.
I know my team will be off that day probably.
Let's regroup our call on 9/11 after our little. That'll be kind of fun. Like Allison was on, Julie was on, I was on. A little exciting. Hopefully, most of the team will be on, and we'll just go into my room right after, and we'll kick off our personal development. So, honey, you want to kind of walk through what we learned through research and listening?
Yeah. So just to clean it up, so we're not having a call on the 4th, period. Okay, so everybody has that on the calendar. No Trailblazer call on the 4th. Okay, so yeah, hello everybody. Okay, so one of the things that we were talking about with leading the way is it's been great. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I know a lot of you kind of started your personal development journey with us here. Some of you had been doing personal development, but it really was just reading books. And some of you have read some new things that you probably wouldn't have read before. And it was enlightening and gave you some insight. And that's really what the goal was, is that you did something with it for you and for your life. So as I think about, as we were talking about the life book, Rachel and I were talking about, leading the way. And one of the things that kind of resonated for me was, part of, and it kind of goes along with the comment that I made to Patrick's comment about back to basics, and very successful organizations, tip of the spear, like the Marine Corps and lots of others. The one thing they do well are the basics, and for me, it is one of the cornerstones of our business, right? We always talk about the 4 components, right? And so one of the components is a transformational system. And it's not the thought that I had was not about using leading the way to become experts at it. I think we've nailed that one with the Saturday morning book club where we were reading and teaching. We started out that way. I started off leading the way that way, where it was a teaching of what I read, and I learned from it, and so it evolved from there. And so my hope is that this is something that is going to bring fuel to your lives, to your journey. And when I'm talking about your journey, I'm talking about all of it, right? Your personal life, your business life, the people you meet, your friends, the people that experience you, that it is enriching in your life. And so my thought is that as we move into this next season, that we put the pause on the 15 commitments of conscious leadership. And if you want to continue to read it, man, I encourage you to do so. It's a great book if you haven't read it all the way through. But we're just going to hit pause, and I think there'll be a time for us to come back to it. But even, I only say this because I think it's so important, and it felt so convicting when I was reading it for the first time. In the very first commitment, he talks about that you should stop here, because this is going to be a challenging one for you to accomplish on your own, right? Is the first commitment, which is taking personal responsibility. And I don't think he was being facetious. I think he was really saying, like, look, this isn't something to just be read. It's something to really be digested and practiced and put in action. And again, not perfectly, but it's that something that is the cornerstone of personal development is personal responsibility. So I think with that, utilizing the life book is going to be really helpful for us, because it is going to give us so much content to where we really are. I think one of the pitfalls in coaching is that we become this person that's, well, I'm a coach and you're a client. And in reality, those things don't exist. We are just someone that has said, hey, I'm willing to put in $200 to start helping other people come with me. And alongside of it comes income. And so now it's a business. And so now I'm in charge of this business, and somehow I don't eat the same dog food that you eat. And we've all fallen prey to that. And so I think for me, the driving force for me is that this program be real for you, that your journey be real. And so when you're talking about it, it's something that just flows naturally from you. You don't have to clean it up, right? You're doing a live and you're like, I'm just connecting with people that resonate with me, that follow me. And I was reading my life book today, and this is something I want to share with you. Like, and here's how I've shifted, and here's how I'm still learning. And I constantly fall below the line in this way, or whatever it might be for you. Maybe it's about your healthy finances, and you're talking about your business, and you're talking about taking this vacation, or whatever it might be. I love that I work in a space where the people that I interact with are pretty healthy, and the way that they deal with business things are very healthy. And the clients that I talk to, it's always about things that I know about because I'm in the struggle of, or I'm in the challenge of this business, and it keeps me sharp. Whatever it might be, it's all going to be in the context of you furthering you. And so, and that's really my goal at the end of the day, that this experience of Optavia be something that moves your life forward. And because your life moved forward, that so many other people said, I guess if you can do that, I can do that too. Like I bought into the belief that when I turned 18, that I was fully baked, that I knew everything that I needed to know. I graduated from high school or from college or whatever it might be for you, and that was my permission to stop growing. And I realized that there was more work to do, and it was on me, and that I was the only one that could do it. And so that's my challenge for you. That's kind of where I think that I think we would all benefit from, and I think it would be so inspiring for people, and even I think it would be so I don't know the right word, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that people would feel like not intimidated to say, I would love to coach this program. I can do this because I'm just talking about me, and I'm just sharing what's going on with me and what I'm learning and how it's impacting my marriage and my relationship with my kids and with my own body and how I see myself, how I treat myself, how I celebrate myself, how I punish myself, all of those things. And that we as a world and as a community would just get better and better. So I think this is really our time to kind of step into this and utilize the life book in a way that we can grow closer and more intimate. I can't tell you how I felt. I mean, I wouldn't be able to express in words how I felt about our last time together in Atlanta when we were all in our room. Like that time of sharing was probably the most authentic time I've ever had in my life of people that are just pouring their heart about where they are in life and what's been going on and just all the things. And I just so encouraged. And I think this is just going to be one thing that if we just point it in the right direction, we're going to get so much out of where we go from here. And so that's really kind of where we've kind of landed with leading the way. And I think everybody's kind of saying the same thing. I mean, you look at the contenders poll, 68%. They're not where they want to be. They've kind of, and it's totally normal. I mean, we do this as human beings, right? We get excited, we're moving in a direction, then all of a sudden, we're now off on, in the, out of the sheet fold, and we're kind of stranded out here on the sidelines. And so we know better than that. And so it's time to regroup. And I think this is the way to, and, if 68% of health coaches that are helping other people are experiencing what you said you're experiencing, then what do you think your clients are? And so reaching out to you is like they see you as somebody that's got it all together. And so I think this is just going to be so helpful because you're going to have so much more insight when you're talking to them and you're sharing with them and you're listening. You'll have better questions to ask because it'll be the questions you're asking yourself or asking your coach or asking each other during this time together. So those are my thoughts.
And also, yeah, so it was 41% of coaches admitted like not where I want to be. I'm absolutely regrouping. And then 27% I'm thinking about regrouping. You put that together, it's 68%. And even those that said they weren't struggling, I looked at some of those, and formerly those people in a different setting had said, yeah, I've put on 15 pounds, or whatever. So maybe they were like, no, I'm not struggling in my mind, but so we're just seeing overall, people are, that's a huge chunk. That's a massive chunk. And I think what I spent the last week doing is asking coaches, where are you in your life book? Just be honest. No, like, please don't look for the apple, And they're like, I'm not. I haven't been in it in a long time. Or if I only get on it when I prepare for the win the day call. And that's when I'm in it. That's very preachy to learn something, to share it to another versus having that experiential thing. And we don't want to be preachy in our teaching, So that's what's really convicting me is like, man, I got to be in there. And so I just started it over again. I'm literally only reading it exactly 5 minutes a day right now. And I've committed to put it in my stories. So I'm going to put whatever I'm getting in my Instagram story and just live it out loud and just share, oh, another nugget. Oh, this hit me in the face. Oh, and that way when people see that, they're like, yeah, that program you're doing, they would never say, I'm not going to read or I don't need the books, because that is what they're seeing in my feed along with food and everything else. So excited about that. We have some logistics. So leading it, right? Leading it, we're only covering 5 minutes a day. Julie, you had a fantastic idea that you shared with me about it. Do you want to share that with the group that you shared earlier?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just want to throw this out there. Originally, I was like, no, I don't want to do the life book. We should all be doing the life book every day on our win call. We should all be reading our life book on our own. And, and we should. But just thinking about it, if we do the life book together as a team and we're on a call together, sharing and receiving coaching from one another, I think that that's going to be a cool missing link to bringing on new coaches. Because I don't know about you guys, but for me, that is the hardest part about training a new coach, is how to coach a client, because we're not on all of their check-ins forever and ever and amen. And maybe they have one client here and one client there, and it's sparse. And so they're not receiving that kind of coaching. I mean, we coach them because they're our client, but they are who they are. And we are who we are. It's one person, like they learn how to coach themselves, basically. They don't learn how to coach 15 different people. And so I just thought, what if we did the life book? We all read 5 minutes a day. We met for this call once a week, and we give and receive coaching directly from the systems and directly from the coaching guide. What that might look like for duplication, as far as how our new coaches that are joining this call are going to see how we all coach clients, because we're all going to be coaching each other. So I thought, well, man, that kills two birds with one stone, right? And a piece of the puzzle that honestly I have not been able to figure out with bringing on a new coach. Like, it's okay, but I still have coaches on our team say, man, I don't know what to do when I'm coaching people. Like, how do you keep your calls to 10 minutes? And honestly, like, I didn't get good at check-ins until the last year or two, really, maybe 3 years. And we received some great questions at convention to keep it to 10 minutes too. So added to, whatever we're doing in the life book, like hitting the commitments each week with them, or moving them forward in some way on each commitment. So that was just my thought. Like, I thought it would be cool if we did the life book together in community, not only for each other's journey, but to help fill that gap when it comes to helping new coaches know how to go through the life book with someone. That's it.
Yeah, super good. I'm looking in here and I'm like, yeah, there's 3 questions that repeat, but then these ones at the bottom are really great. And so I feel like we can just be less hero coachy for sure. And that is a really great suggestion. So we'll do that. I guess we'll just go ahead, keep it in my room. I'm not at all interested in recording all of those. That is like, you're on, you miss a week. Okay, great. You're like, join the next time, because there's just so many calls, and we can just get on, talk as a team, be candid, experientially about what that meant. We'll start at element 1. We'll really ask that you share what you were able to cover in 5 minutes of reading, the big takeaway for you. And then we'll kind of help coach each other. Maybe we'll just keep it very impromptu, like, who wants to coach that, and allow it to be from here. And that way it's truly, like you said, Julie. The last thing I wanted to put on your guys' radar for this call today is the cruise. So I went through last week and just spent hours in my back office and looked at our frontline coaches and really came up with their different paths and looked at what each and every person needs to get on the cruise. And I've met with a number of them. I'm not interested in talking about the cruise outside of a map. It just like you need to kind of have that current reality and see their business and, you know, all of that good stuff. But I do think it's an important time to just get with each of your team members and not ask them if they could get on the cruise, because many of them they're not gonna be able to see the forest through the trees, okay, where they're gonna go like, it's a long shot for me, I gotta get 17 clients, and they just can't see past that. There you go, Julie. And really, that if this is a time, let's collaborate on that. So if you're like, hey, are we allowed to put some map calls on your calendar with people that want to go on the cruise? Yes. And let's team up on that and really look at their business together and go through and peel it back and give them an objective for the rest of August, September, October, November, laser focused tasks, challenges. We came up with so much stuff for like Sheila Calvo. It was so fun to put her plan together and go, and she's like, okay, I gotta go. I gotta get off this call and go start a challenge and get 10 people that wanna do a regroup challenge from kids back in school. And I'm gonna do a diet bet thing on it. And like her creative juices were flowing. And she was like, I'm getting on that cruise. So how do we feel like we're doing with our team? You know, meeting with each one of them and putting together action plans for them around the cruise. How do you guys think you're doing with that?
I've sent out messages and I'm getting with each, that's Jody's map call from today, but
Okay.
that's the piece that was missing. Now what? I mean, she's got great content, but as far as like, you know, I showed her how many she needed, you know, what she needed each month and frontline to hit it. And all, you're like, we know what she needs and how we worked it backwards to break it into smaller bites. Cause yeah, looking at it at a whole, it was like, holy frick.
You like a lot.
Yep. And I'm looking at my own business like that. So I'll be getting on your calendar as well. But when we broke it down, it was easier, but I didn't come up with things like that, Rachel, like, how are we like she has some great lives and posts and stuff she's doing right now, but then what? Like, how do we make that into something that is truly attractive for lots of people to come along with her? So like I don't know how we go about that if we do that one-on-one.
I give you guys full permission. If they have said to you, like, I want to go on the cruise and it seems daunting, but I want to go and I'm willing to do the work and I'm willing to commit, then let's just go ahead and put a map call, even though we're not doing them with everybody, you know, let's get a little messy and get their call with us too. And we'll go through it and just energize them and show them how we've done things like that in the past. I mean, it's not, we've had to do things like that. I remember being 10 clients away and one coach away from some trip, you know, and having to go, okay, how am I going to do that? So we're down to do it. That's the first thing I wanted to say to you guys is we're happy to serve you as you serve your team in that way. You may want to put some money behind it. You may want to be really smart with scholarships and stuff, right? Where you're like coaching kit scholarships or whatever meets their plan. And and then you guys first, right? So I would love to meet with each one of you in your business and make sure you guys are able to get on the cruise too, as our leaders. Like that's something that we'd love to do first and then let that spill out onto your team. So if you're like, shoot, I haven't had a map call in a long time, put it on our calendar. We do have a lot of availability right now. And then lastly, we won't do this here, but we are gonna work through that little thing that I did. This will be fire starters tomorrow. And I just wanted you guys to kind of be playing with your sheets so that tomorrow we're gonna take them through this exercise for the full 30 minutes on the call, 35 minutes. And this is what we're gonna go over, is just content, conversations, value, education, make it personal. How do you do it? Map it out. So we will go through this tomorrow on fire starters. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't even done mine.
Where's that? Is that somewhere today that I should be looking?
This was in contenders, and then Julie put it in. Julie, you put this in the actual contender page, right? The videos that
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Rachel did videos working how she worked that out, and I put them in order on the contenders page. I think I pinned them at the top even. And
I saw because I just looked at the poll thing and I saw them in there. So, Kristen, you just have to go to contenders. The
Okay,
actual
I
page.
will.
It got buried in the post, and so
It
Joyce,
does. I'll be honest with you, it does. That's why sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't go find that, but I just need to stop making excuses and go find the stuff.
Yeah, in the page, it's not buried at all because we don't post that much in there whatsoever.
Okay.
Like on the
I pinned it. It's at the very top.
right at
Like,
the top. Yeah. So we pin it so that that won't happen. So you'll find it, just take a look at it and then play with yours and like see, okay, this is who I'm talking to. This is my audience.
Oh,
Like,
yes. Yes, yes,
that,
yes.
remember? And so,
Yes.
but we haven't taken the time to help them fill this out. And right now, because fire starters is all about this, right? And the active 30 and doing this, we're going to make this tomorrow relate to this because we promised them that we were going to stay laser focused on learning this line. And I just want to brag on you guys a little bit. Our team is so far ahead in terms of like other teams are coming and going, we don't know how to talk about active. We don't know what to say. We're scared. We don't know what to do. You guys are already out there. You're doing stuff here and you're leading with it. And so be proud of yourself that like other leaders that you guys respect are running to us and going, how is your team already all engaged in this? You know? So that's exciting. And I want us to continue to feel confident in how to talk about using this to solve problems. So we'll do it as pertaining to this tomorrow. But once they go through this and they can do it for this, they can do it for their overall audience. And you guys can get really good at like, let me see your content, Thomas, or this person or that person. And you can go through and go, that doesn't really look like what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's why we're not getting like so much traction, so-and-so. I just threw Thomas's name out there for an example, but you guys get it, that you can audit their social media and really look and say, this still seems very sales resistant type of stuff. And maybe that's why you're not getting conversations, you know? So that's our task for tomorrow. That's it for today. I'm excited to meet weekly. If we don't have anything juicy, we won't meet. But I'm going to tell you right now, I can't see that happening for a while because the trend in the business right now is it's ramping and I want to keep the energy up. So just, you know, keep
Rachel,
leading.
when are we going to go back? I know you talked about doing like your power hours and stuff like that. Like, do we know when all of that is going to take place? Remember we talked about doing them during the day thing? Because I do have people that are asking, like, when is that going to start?
Yeah, I am prepared to start that as early as next week. Let's just think about, you know, like right now we have fire starters, so let's make sure they're in there. And then this group becomes even more important if we're doing that, because now we're going to talk about what do we want to cover in Power Hour, you know? So I would just say that let's start with one and then see how that goes. And then you guys may go, you know what, I'm going to do one and I'm going to do one and I'm going to do one. And we can get what they refer to these as is like cell groups, right? Or campfire groups, they used to call them, where you're just getting really good at one thing. And so my thoughts are, look at that list that we just went through, okay? And if we, the one in Trailblazers, what if we decided as a group to say, yeah, we're not doing these things, right? So in our little huddles where we're just working for a half an hour, let's just do this stuff because we're not, you know, and that's maybe the way you fix that. So I'm happy to throw another one on the calendar, like off the cuff. I know I can do like a Wednesday or a Thursday in the middle of the day for a half an hour, and I can just open my room and just go ham on adding friends and some of the very basic things where we just hold each other accountable to like, why don't we have 5,000 friends on Facebook? Why? You know, that's my personal black eye. So I'll probably want to start with that. You know, Julie, you may be like, man, I really want to do one on sending the stinking newsletter, you know, and just how easy it is. and maybe even learning how to customize a newsletter once active comes out, if you want to offer a scholarship. And if we still don't know how to do that stuff, then it's like, man, we're just fighting with one arm tied behind our back, you know? So you guys think about it. What would you want to see in a power hour in that 30 minutes? Or maybe we just make them 20 minutes, like 20 minutes.
I like the half hour. I'll be honest with you. It's going to be back to the basics, girl. I think that's what my team's is, back to the basics for sure.
Okay, so let's please look at that list. In all humility, in your business thread, put like, man, I give like I told y'all, I give myself a C- on this list. So and here's the value of it. You won't go around saying that you're doing everything and your team will think you're doing everything when really we're only doing 30 to 40% of the fundamentals. And that's why we're getting 30 to 40% of the results, you know? So I think it's powerful to say to them 3 months from now, I did these things and my business is growing again. That's powerful, because that way they just know, hey, the fundamentals work, you know? So let's commit to looking at that. And then next week, we'll meet in here and we'll decide what those power hours should look like. The topics, the time, who's leading them. I'm not gonna lead them all. And get them scheduled, and they are completely optional. So if people are like, can't make that, that's smack dab in the middle of my workday, we get it, right? But let's make that our agenda for next week, if you guys are cool with that. Just that alone, just how to get the work done. You guys good with that? Cool. All right, any other thoughts? Let me know in your business thread, and or text me and say, call me, and I can call you one-on-one. All right, love you guys. Take care, and thanks for letting us get all this done today.